Okay, so we um, we are now in a neuroscience conference. So I mean, all my work for the last 12 years is about the future of neuroscience and more the neuroscience theory. For this particular meeting, I actually come up with something which I call human tech neuroscience, because there is a human element, human machines, transhumans, posthumans, human augmented humanity, and also the usual about technology, from brain-computer interface to neuromorphic computing, etc. So I'll be covering some of these issues: nootropics, ingestibles, brain imaging, cognitive neuroscience as well. Nanobots, very, very important. Also the advances in nanobots, and also very interesting, the outset of thought control computing, and of course, what we're expecting maybe in 25 years from now, singularity, in terms of the technology will actually surpass human intelligence, the appearance of cyborgs, and of course, transhumans and posthumans. So we are already merging our human intelligence with artificial intelligence. So more and more, this merging of minds is now extending to a merging of human with artificial in our bodies. And this might even take us and lead us to our biology being fully digitized, programmable, repairable, and even replaceable. So this will give rise to what I call augmented humanity, which is a human-computer integration of technology that suggests that we can improve our capacity and productivity by changing or even increasing our normal ranges of human functionality through the restoration or extension of human physical capabilities, intellectual capabilities, even social capabilities. For instance, a lot of people are looking very, very seriously about smart drugs, nootropics, the future of human brain in terms of augmenting cognitive structure, augmenting really memorization capacities. So we are in a quest to achieve the next level of humanity, what I call augmented humanity. There you are, nootropics, smart pills. Oh, sorry. And also an interesting development nowadays is that we're going to have more and more what we call ingestibles. If you are willing to do that, these are broadband-enabled digital tools that you actually eat. For example, there are smart pills that use wireless technology to help you monitor your internal reactions. And that is actually a kind of in parallel with the developments of nano robots. So in the future, our bodies will be radically altered, radically changed by biology, but also machine-based enhancements. So although our sensorial life that make us, part of us, what we make us, allow us to touch, to hear, to see the world, that will remain the same, intact. But human augmentation is already here, and a lot of biohacking appearing all the time. Even the word is about DIY, do it yourself. But amplified senses, power, strength, muscles, brain extension, all these are part of human augmentation. And of course, one of the #1 areas where this human augmentation is taking place is the issue about cognitive structure, cognitive enhancement. Lots of people want to improve their cognition and abilities. So this will give us to what we call enhanced intelligence, a world of enhanced intelligence, which we probably might see a 20% on average increase in intelligence. A lot of DIY, do-it-yourself biohacking labs are appearing. So almost like citizen science based, trying to change the sequencing, the DNA, the microbiome. So we need to be careful, because a lot of bad examples that might hurt your biology, might cause a lot of problems about this biohacking, if not conducted by people that are really have the knowledge to do it. In terms of brain imaging and cognitive neuroscience, again, we are offering more and more new views on how variation in the structure of the brain and the functions make us unique. And we are witnessing a revolution in personalized mental health treatments and also educational practice. And this will empower the flourishing in many of us, the flourishing of our brain power and cognitive structures. In terms of neurotechnologies, of course, nowadays, apart from the therapeutic results that we see, there's a lot of infrared spectroscopy, lots of headsets with mind-reading devices, and also capable of controlling computers, controlling applications through our neurological user data. So can our thoughts be converted to, to input to computers, to applications, to be uploaded to the internet? Yes. Can be downloaded as well, can do brain to brain to other people. All those are developments that are pretty much upstream. So, and of course, the resurrection of electroencephalography, EEG, and more the use of fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and of course, although not at start, no, they were not widely used, but more people are actually using magnetoencephalography. And all these are non-invasive techniques for measuring brain activity. The magnetoencephalography deals with the spatial distributions of magnetic fields in order to be able to analyze and locate the sources of the activity within the brain itself. Another thing that has been around for some time now, and I quite like that, and I've been using, is about TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. So it uses magnets to influence the chemistry, the critical brain chemistry, and it is really important. It's a very strong magnetic coil that is placed over certain regions of the subject's head, and these regions then are stimulated with a very strong magnetic pulse that can influence the brain to produce or to decrease certain neurotransmitters. But more people are actually looking at using TDCS, transcranial direct current stimulation. It is a neuromodulation technique that delivers, because it's less harmful, low intensity direct current to very cortical areas of the brain, facilitating then or inhibiting spontaneous neural activity. And of course, in terms of the near infrared spectroscopy is incredible. Brain imaging, because especially in South Korea, we have all sorts of devices, but this is probably the best, near SIT, to be allowed. Okay, you are only allowed measuring the surface cortex and region of the brain by region of the brain, not simultaneously, but you can get huge effective readings from the brain. But also, because of the human brain is incredible in terms of storing, processing information, we are talking nowadays more and more about developing computing technology that actually replace, but not replace, mimic, emulate how the neurons operate in the brain. So not only because we are building faster computers, but also the brain is pretty much energy efficiency sort of organ. And early indications of research can tell us that these neuromorphic systems can deliver even further improved energy efficiency. So advanced computing. So this concept of neuromorphic computing is incredible, because we're trying to copy the methods of a human brain, how the human brain functions. It's really a replication, an emulation. So it's pretty much closely related. So we have computer engineering, either the hardware or the software, which are equipped as per exactly the same, or at least as near as possible, the human cerebral system and the human nervous system. So brain-computer interface appearing, if you remember, about a month ago, Neuralink from Elon Musk created the first implants as well, with the size of a coin implanted in the brain. But BCIs are actually coming on stream. What is really a BCI? Well, it's mainly what we call a neural prosthesis, any technology linking the human brain with the computer. The computational systems implanted in the brain allows a person to control the computer using only brain waves. You can read the electrical signals from the brain as a person focus on the computer screen. So again, can be used to repair human cognitive and sensory motor functions, and again in medicine is becoming really very beneficial. So not only these BCIs, brain-computer interfaces, but this can mean a lot of things in the future as well. Can you imagine you can prepare your next presentation for this webinar, for instance, using only your thoughts? These scenarios can be a reality through the development of these BCIs. So incredible this future that is expecting us. Mind machines, okay, these BCRs are a natural beginning of the singularity epoch in the eyes of many futurism, because they're actually combining as well mind and machine in no way other technology has done so far. So if we want really to have BCIs, brain-computer interface, you must first decode the brain using cryptography. And neuroscientists are translating more and more brain activity through this cryptography, neurocryptography, which is a branch of cryptography itself dedicated analyzing stochastic through the use of stochastic algorithms, artificial neural networks algorithms, the use of encryption or cryptanalysis. So again, this will allow us to read the brain. So, or to upload our minds, mind uploading. The brain is being replaced almost, every neuron by a synthetic neurons, bit by bit on a microscopic level. Mind uploading is actually already being worked a lot. A procedure that really means transferring human consciousness into a non-biological carrier. So personality traits, emotional details, memories could be immortalized, maybe. We are creating digital forms of humans, digital humans, which all of their inherent traits, facets, characteristics would have significant ramifications for life on this planet. And this might upset some of the cycles that we have in the government, economy, society, and even our lives, individual lives. So we are linking our brains with artificial intelligence systems. And this will help us to have almost infallible memory, brain-to-brain communication, body extensions, objects located hundreds of miles away, to reach multidimensional thinking. These are some of the possibilities. It's incredible. And that's why we are more and more now talking about the brain on a chip. Yes, neuroengineers have done a lot in building a human brain, trying to analyze thousands of neurons and the synapses connected. And they have done a lot of experiments, performing a lot of, with isolated neurons to understand what we call the single channel kinetics. Kinetics, the mechanism by which a physical or chemical change is affected, and the genesis of the action potentials in terms of coupling neurons, couples of neurons, to understand the synapses, the synaptic mechanism that really governs, for instance, cognition and behavior. But to really understand our own brain and the way the brain works, we need what makes us humans, to essentially to study the human brain at a very fine grain level of cells and the connection that we'll make with other cells, which means the synapses. So if the computational approach by means of the development of complex mathematical models is a possibility, then we are seeing and witnessing the advances in stem cell knowledge, neurotechnologies, which are paving the way to recreate more and more the human brain in vitro and to record our activity in terms of electrophysiological activity. And then we are talking again about this term brain on a chip. More than 10 years of work, we are now really talking more seriously about brain on a chip. And some of these major projects are actually coming and providing results very, very important. There are obviously human brain, blue brain, and of course the Connectome project. The blue brain is an attempt to reverse engineering of the human brain and to recreate this brain at a very cellular level inside or through a computer simulation. Incredible. So the aim of this blue brain project is to establish in Switzerland, to establish simulation neuroscience is almost a complementary approach, also alongside theoretical neuroscience, clinical neuroscience, experimental neuroscience, to trying to understand the brain by building biologically detailed digital reconstruction and simulations of the brain. Using supercomputers, simulations, and reconstructions, it's a radical new approach for understanding this multi-level structure and functions of our human brain. We can the Blue Brain project finds how neurons form billions and billions of synaptic connections. So incredible is a cutting-edge research infrastructure which allows scientific researchers to advance more and more our knowledge in the fields of neuroscience, brain-related medicine, and computing. Interesting enough, for some of you that might be interested or involved in artificial intelligence, the human brain characterizes the brain regions using machine learning. So we're talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then deep learning. And the connectome. Well, the human brain is a very complex dynamic biological network, physical objects. And the connectome provides a lot of what we call maps of structural brain connectivity, very comprehensive, full maps of structural brain connectivity to allow us to understand the structural functional relationships of the brain. So still have a long way to go in terms of finding a nanoscale connectome of the whole brain. The brain has about 1,015 connections, about, as you know, 100 billion neurons. So it's almost as many stars as the Milky Way. So a very, complex, is probably the most complex phenomenon known to science, the brain. A typical adult brain contains about 100 billion nerve cells, neurons. A single neuron can be linked to either output wires, axons, or by input wires, dendrites, and across a number of synapses, which are gaps between those axons and those dendrites. And as many as, linking about 100,000 other neurons. So you just have to do the numbers and find the typical human brain has about quadrillions of connections among its neurons. This project, HCP, the Human Connectome Project, is based in the US. It's actually a transatlantic collaboration venture. Again, how we can actually have a structural map of the brain. How can we understand this highly dynamic neural network? And this was done almost 14 years ago. And since then, for the last 14 years, the knowledge about the structure of the brain and the way it functions has increased enormously. And there is still a long way to go, mapping, especially mapping, again, as I told you, a nanoscale connectome of the whole human brain. This Human Connectome Project, again, is to navigate, allow us to navigate the brain, and like never before, to fly through major brain pathways, compare circuits, ancestral circuits of the brain, zoom into a region, explore the cells that comprise that particular region and functions that depend on that region. The HCP, the Human Connectome Project, aims to provide an unparalleled compilation of neural data, an interface to graphically navigate this data, and the opportunity to achieve, as we never did before, conclusions about the living human brain. And that's why we see as well advances, incredible advances in application in medicine, nanobots that travel through your arteries. And nanobots are the art of the Blue Brain project. Nanobots, a nanobot is depicted in this image, nibbling out of a atherosclerotic deposit in a blood cell. These nanobots are incredible because they are flowing through your body, in about 5 years, 7 years from now. They are injected to your bloodstream, to your arteries. And nanobots in your blood might keep you, away from getting sick, or even to transmit thoughts to a wireless cloud. You can transmit your own thoughts to a wireless cloud. So these are programmed strands of DNA robots which have the capacity to move through the bloodstream and inject blood clotting drugs into blood cell vessels around tumors, for instance, cutting off their blood supply and cure your major diseases like cancer. So nanobots will be able to assess and to fix us from within, are made based on our own DNA, and eventually help cure us from deadly disease ranging from blocked arteries to cancer. And what is the next frontier? Well, when thoughts can control machines. So what is beneath the skull? Well, this lies the next frontier, thought control computing. And this is part of really the phase of singularity. And futurologists, they point to the exponential rate of technological progress, since especially people cannot cope up with the technological development. Since 2007, that was the year where we were more or less apart, pairing human knowledge, citizens' normal, person on the street knowledge with technological advancement. Nowadays, we're talking about, 2024. we are rapidly approaching this turning point of singularity. Singularity, we are able to enhance human intelligence, magnify creativity, enter a new evolutionary stage of mankind, certainly a new epoch for the cosmos. Are we becoming then superhumans? Well, singularity is defined as the future period during which the pace of technological advance, the pace of technological change will be so rapid, so fast, so exponential, that its impact will be so deep that human life will be irreversibly transformed. And we might see cyborgs. People say, well, in 2 years, I mean, the famous professor Noah Harari from Hebrew University in Israel, they said in about 2 years, humans will become more and more merged with technology. This will give rise to what he calls godlike cyborgs. But many people are saying maybe by the end of this decade, we might see cyborgs walking our streets. We are already, starting down the path towards a cyborg future. After all, many of us already have either bionic ear, eyes, insulin pump technology, prosthetics to help us survive, and many other researchers are working on other things. For instance, sending our thoughts across the web, subconsciously control bionic limbs, the use of liquid metal to heal severed nerves. And it's not hard to imagine that we could continue to use technology at this pace to supplement our vulnerable human bodies, even more, further. A cyborg then is what we call an organism, a cybernetic organism, constructed and mechanized and based on organic material. The trend towards cyborgs has started with mechanized body part implants for the handicapped, prosthetic mechanized body parts, but many human beings are embracing voluntary infusion of technology in their physical bodies. Again, we're talking about biohacking. We're talking about many cyborgs today have the capabilities beyond human beings in terms of hearing, in terms of vision enhancement, in terms of metabolic enhancement, strength, artificial bones, organs, and even brain-computer interfaces that can be implanted beneath the screen, invisible to any casual observer. We might have a brain like that in terms of human enhancement and augmented humanity. And this will give rise to what I call human-machine. The combination of humans and machine. So this human enhancement is incredible. And of course, the movement of transhumanisms are actually very keen on that. They support human enhancement and they call themselves transhumanisms. Technological breakthroughs like this are the springboards not only to healing people, but also to changing and improving humanity. So these people, transhumanisms, are predicting that the convergence of new technologies will soon allow people to control and fundamentally change their bodies and also their minds. And this also will take us to a chaotic dynamics, which are the source of what we call transhumanity, posthumanities. Transhumans, posthumans. Incredible. Transhumans. And of course, posthumans. So are we going to evolve beyond, our current physical and mental limitations by the means of technology, by the means of science? Probably, yes. Transhumanism and people that believe in transhumanism are saying that. So all these artificial intelligence technology-based enhancements and transhumanism. But people are also a bit, doubtful about that. So some they're already underway and then some will maybe become commonplace in about 30, 50 years. But other experts are raising doubts about concerning where this radical artificial intelligence-based enhancement transhumanists talk so much about, advocate, will really accomplish goals of longevity, human flourishing, and intelligent enhancement. So we are pretty much divided groups about analyzing this transhumanism and posthumans as well. So we are projecting to have this emergence of singularity and maybe to progress the next 3 decades, maybe 4 decades, and we're going to have posthumans. And these posthumans are projected to be new intelligent species and will have more self-aware artificial intelligence. So are you ready for all these developments? To finish, a joke as usual, computer repair shop, and someone asks, oh my God, can you help me? I'm not getting many Facebook friend requests. No, I don't think so. Anyway, Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed some of my thoughts and some of my, pretty much, breaking the molds of ideas, thought-provoking ideas and concepts. Thank you for inviting me.